So guys, please can we just stand up and give TY Bello a round of applause. Thank you for coming. I was just telling them that I think we met properly first last year, and just being in your space, I went away with something that I said I can't really quantify. You know, there was just something that rubbed off for me. I can't tell you what it is exactly. All I know is I felt good. You know, and I'm hoping.
I called him because I wanted to be his student. I wanted my own private little masterclass.
But I was one that went away. I was one that went away being taught. So I'm hoping that they can come out of this with something good as well. Please, let's just I said it's a real honor for her to be here. She was one that told me, said, "Listen, you're doing workshop. I'm coming." I was like, "Hey, God."
Invite me.
I was like, "God, I don't know where I got this." So please let me just help me clap for her again. Help me thank her for coming. It's such an amazing experience to have her here, and we're glad you're here. Thank you so much.
All right. I think you've been having a photography masterclass. I'm going to teach you a photography Bible class, and it's not a problem if you're not religious. In fact, if you're not religious, you'll probably enjoy it even more. So it doesn't matter whether you're Muslim, Christian, atheist, where you are in your faith. I'm going to teach you a photography Bible class. So if you don't have a problem with it, I'd be happy. And if you have a problem with it, give me a chance. Let's see where this is going. Okay. So I'm going to read 1 Corinthians 13. And it says, "If I speak with human eloquence and angelic ecstasy, but don't love, I'm nothing but the creaking of a rusty gate." And you know how people put so much importance on eloquent speech, like the ability to speak, you need your own TED talk, all those things are important now. And he says that if you don't have love, you're nothing. Then he says, "If I speak what God's word with power, revealing all his mysteries and making everything plain as day, and if I have faith that says to a mountain jump, and it jumps, but I don't love, I'm nothing." I know how, especially religious people of nowadays, it's all about power. There are people, they further. And you open the Bible and God is saying that it's all nothing if you don't love. And then, "If I give everything I own to the poor," you know how it is now. What makes you really great is your philanthropy. "And even go to the stake to be burned as a martyr," your philanthropy and your ability to speak the truth and die for it. He says that if I don't love, I've gotten nowhere. So no matter what I say, what I believe, what I do, I'm bankrupt without love. Love never gives up. This is what love is. It never gives up. Doesn't have a swelled head. It says doesn't force itself on others. Doesn't force itself on others. And that's a Niger, characteristic. Like we are very forceful. Like we have our opinion. Everybody go, Jollof is the best. We are the number one. We are the, my camera is better. Canon is better than Nikon. Sunny people, they are coming here to oppress Canon people. It says doesn't force itself on others. Isn't always me first. And there's something about this time and this economy that makes us very me first. Okay, you have to take care of yourself. No, you have to work. Me first. He says, doesn't fly off the handle. In other words, it doesn't lose its temper easily. He says, doesn't keep score of the sins of others. Doesn't grovel when others grovel. When Canon releases a camera and it's not really doing that well, the Sony people will be like, Canon. It says, takes pleasure in the flowering of truth. Puts up with anything, trusts God always looks for the best, never looks back, keeps going to the end. It says love never dies. Love never dies. Inspired speech will be over someday. Praying in tongues will end. Understanding will reach its limit. We know only in portion, and what we say about God is always incomplete. You know how Christians feel like they know everything more than everybody else. What we say about God is always incomplete. It says, but when the complete arrives, our incompletes will be cancelled. So why am I reading Bible? So this is photography masterclass. And I say this because a lot of times when we come into photography, the first thing that occurs to you is that the entry point is every year it gets easier to call yourself a professional photographer because the camera keeps getting better and better. The cameras are making it easy for non-thinkers to make great work. The technology is making it easier for people to, to create great work without having to think. And then, we now have AI. Do you understand? So even the average person who is out there with their phone can download an AI app and get their headshots looking not bad. Those things are getting, those times they're looking awkward. But they're getting better and better, And technology, which used to be like
somewhere to copy the images.
What stopped people from learning? Because when I learned photography, you couldn't be a photographer if you couldn't go into dark room. If you know how to mix the chemicals, if you know how to take out the film from the canister in the dark, you're in a completely dark room, then the canister in your hand, you shook something inside, you pull out the film, you roll it. When you now do, when it clicks, you now know that yes, what you want. Do you understand? Then there's a way you now put it in the what? I did all that, I learned photography when it was cameras, with film, Then those who really did well were those people who could buy film from abroad, the black and white films, Then people like Kelechi Amadiobi will be shooting Fuji Velvia, where we take see Fuji Velvia, where they make it for fridge. Do you understand? The rest of us, we used to go to our lawyer to go and buy our Fuji where they expire. Then it was technology, and the ability to have access to knowledge. So only certain people could afford certain books and certain magazines, and that was what set you apart, your access to knowledge. But that changed with the internet coming, because we learned photography at a time when there was no internet. You couldn't Google, there was no YouTube. Do you understand? I remember that the first book I had on photography was some small book that my friend's dad had in 1976 that taught you everything you needed to know about photography. And I read that book over and over because there was no information anywhere. So there came a time where it was information that made you a great photographer. What you had access to, exposure. Do you understand? Your ability to know what a good image is. Exposure to photography, education. There were no master classes. Do you understand? So those little things just set you apart. But if you look at the way the world is going, things like knowledge, when the Bible talked about knowledge is transient. It'll pass. It's incomplete. The complete will always come. Something will always supersede it. And so if you build your life on what you know, that knowledge is going to be irrelevant. And it's getting worse because that cycle of relevance to irrelevance, it used to be like 5 years. Now it's like 2 months sometimes, because things just change all the time. What is good, what is bad. Everything that you've learned in this class today is going to benefit you for a very short time. It's good though, but you need to know, that technology will make sure it frustrates the relevance and the time relevance of that knowledge that you spent time to get. So how do you succeed in a season where everything is changing? Love. Because love is the only thing that never fails. I've been preaching this message. Every time I get to talk to a group of photographers, they're thinking, today I'll tell you everything about how I shoot. And one of the reasons why every year I must learn, I make it a duty, I must learn from a younger photographer. Last year it was Tosin. And when I see someone I love their work, I follow them, and then I go after them. I used to do, when we didn't have a large community of photographers, it used to be American photographer. I'll just look for one young 22-year-old photographer. If they're in North Carolina, I'll buy tickets, pay for hotel, sit down there, and the person will be telling me how they think, And I've always learned. I learned from the older, but I also learned from the younger, because nobody thinks like a younger person. And you also realize that even if you are the younger person now, that status doesn't last very long. I used to be the young photographer. Now I'm a mama to other photographers. So those things, being the young guy, being the cool cat, being the guy with the technology, those things don't last forever. But there's one thing that lasts forever: love. There's one thing that never fails: love. So let me give an example. Last year, a lot of the clients who came to me for portraits were people that I had shot in the first 2 years of my business. So in 2023, I had a lot of my clients come back from 2002. They came back again. A lot of, I don't know how God did it. A lot of them came back again. They were now turning 60. These were people I shot when they were turning 40. They were now turning 60. Why am I churning? I'm always posting people turning 50, 60. Is it that? No, it's because I've had those people in my arms for a long time. And every time I shot people, the thing that I used to get them was not technology. Because 2 years after you shoot someone else is going to shoot them with a better camera. Their pictures are going to be better than yours. Why they come back to you? It can't be for the photos. It can never be for the photographs. Of course, you must learn to make great images. But I can tell you, history, that person that just passed, I shot him when his wife was alive, and his family 20 years before. He came back again. Do you understand? I can tell you over and over, most of the clients that I have, every client that I have, I keep for 20 years and more. I shoot them, I shoot their children, I shoot their children's children. I have families that I was shooting when they were just were my age. And now they are grandparents and they're still coming back. Can it be my camera that was the best camera at the time that brought them back? No. Because I can assure you that half the people that her parents are my clients, she came back. Why would she come? Shouldn't she look at me as old school? If your parents are hiring me, you shouldn't be hiring me now. Why? Because I'm supposed to be old school. Why am I not old school? Is it that my images are so great? I can tell you a little secret. I don't have any lighting technique. I just shoot a softbox. In fact, nowadays I'm doing gege. After I met, what's his name? Tosi. Now I even put one light they hang from top. Image faculty taught me how to hang a light from the top. I even put 2 lights at the back so they'll be rim lights. But if I turned off the rim lights, my pictures would not be any different. So my photos are not that great. I don't really know Photoshop. Ask Tosin. I know very little about Photoshop. I don't really know how to use it. I've never really been trained. I haven't had enough time in the last 10 years to sit down and say, let me even learn this Photoshop. Ori Mofingbe, in Yoruba say, I use head carrier. I really don't know a lot. I'm not exactly very technical. But I know some things. It's the things that I love, that have come through my work. My love for hair. I used to be a hairstylist. I styled hair for 7 years. I was probably the first commercial makeup artist in this town before some of the biggest names. And the love that I have for those things and the love that I put for those things, I bring back into my work. I love fashion. I love fashion. I love art. I love drama. I love the spiritual realm. I love the spiritual realm. And in Christianity, the Bible says that, you are like the wind. Nobody knows where you're coming from and no one knows where you're going to. So I love throwing fabric. Do you understand? Not because it's in. I've been throwing fabric since 2003. You get it? And I'm still throwing fabric, even though now people are throwing fabric, but I still throw it. Do you understand? Why? Because I love the idea of the Holy Spirit being the wind. And when I say, I'm just talking round, is it helping anybody? Yeah. And when I say loving fabric movement, I looked for the person who was the queen of throwing fabric. Her name is Lois Greenfield, and she's the mother of dance photography. And I remember that she was my mentor, and I never met her. I didn't meet her till 2013. So I followed her from 2001 to 2013 before I finally took a class from her. Because I wanted to understand why is everything always moving and flying. And I love movement. I love the wind. Even the clothes that I wear. I don't wear clothes where they move. When I like moving, I like everything to be doing like this. It's just what I like. So if the work that you're making is a reflection of what you love, it will always stand out. And it doesn't matter what happens to styles, I don't know anything about grading. Tosi tried to teach me grading. It did not take. He tried to teach me capture one. When he left, when he left, I looked at the capture one. I couldn't understand what he was talking about. Do you understand? But do I have any clients less than I would have because I don't know how to do these things? No. And so if you intend to do this for a long, long time, you must realize that learning to discover the things that you really love, the things that you are attracted to, the things that speak to you, and learning how to find a way of putting that into your work is what's going to keep you relevant 20 years from now. It doesn't matter if everybody is taking photo in their eye, they'll still come to you. You know, the time will come now, people will not take photo with phone again. People will just be like this. And the photo has taken. So who will a photographer be then? So here's the thing, my conclusion. I realized that when I make images of people, they are not coming from my photography. They are not coming. I mean, I know that a lot of times I would put a lot of work into photography, and the clients will be like, TY, let's not lie to you. What we came for, we already got by coming. And what was it? They came, they had an experience where I loved up on them. In other words, I'm making decisions that helps them to feel good about themselves. So for instance, I don't like heavy makeup because I don't want a woman to feel like it was that makeup that made her look beautiful. So I make someone feel like, see, there's hardly any makeup and see how fine you are. Person's head will be swelling. Do you understand? It's almost like therapy. I put them in a situation where they can appreciate themselves. I put a couple in a space where they can appreciate their love. I put people in a situation where they can appreciate life. I help people celebrate themselves. I make it about them and not about me, you know. And when they have the fullness of that experience, a lot of my clients, I keep saying this, they always cry at my photo shoots. They're always crying. They've not seen photo. Nobody say, they can't, I mean, I may be gawking the photos and the photos are terrible. They don't know. And guess what? They don't care as much because that photo, when they see it, reminds them of how they felt on the day. That is what the photo is for. The photo is a memory of that beautiful feeling they got on the day. The photo doesn't stand on its own. And because it's tied to an experience of love, it's almost the same way you feel when you smell the perfume of your husband randomly somewhere, or the perfume of your late mom, and the way it makes you feel. So it gets to a point where your image is a memory that triggers an experience. It takes them back to an experience that they have and that they what? Loved. So if you can build any business idea, not around just a product, but around a superior phenomenon beyond that which you're selling, then you're bound to do it for a long time and succeed at it. I couldn't care less if what I did wasn't photography anymore and it was maybe painting. Maybe you see that I now paint you. It will still work because people don't come for photography. People can no longer pay you big money for photography. It's not worth it. They can make photos. Why are they going to pay you so much money for photography? Photography is not enough. You need to understand that. Video making is not enough. Your camera is not enough. So for some of you, I'll use that money I wanted to use to buy a new lens and use it to go and pay for healing, emotional healing, so that you can treat people better. Go for therapy. Use that money for lens to go for therapy so that you can heal. Or ask God to heal you. Take time off to take time for God to heal that part of you that doesn't make you lovable and loving and easy to work with. That part of you that doesn't keep your word. That part of you that's impatient. That part of you. Those things is what people really pay for. People would pay to spend a day, do you understand, with someone that makes them feel loved, treasured, appreciated, than pay for a photographer. Then you're no longer just a photographer. Because what happens after the shoot is that when they lose someone, they call you. Why do they call you? Are you a therapist? No, because you showed them genuine love. And love is not a strategy. It's just a law. It's the only law that Christ left. Christ said, forget everything. Not like forget, but in loving, you have fulfilled all the laws. In loving, you fulfilled all the laws. For me, love supersedes art, craft, technology, photography, filmmaking. Love supersedes it all. So every time you come in contact with an opportunity to trade, it's an opportunity to show love. If all you traded was money, then it was not profitable because they'll never remember you. And when they see your work, all they can see is a fine picture. What does that picture trigger? Where does it take them back to? That's what makes you successful. It's not photography. Like I said, it's going to take him longer for him to teach me Capture One. You people catch it. It'll probably take me 5 classes to be able to understand it, because already I have bad habits in my Photoshop because I talk myself. Do you understand? So things that you guys can do in 2 seconds take me like forever to get it done. I'm not really that proficient technology-wise, but I'm a lover. If your clients should touch me like this, it's over. You have lost them. The way I will love them, hey God, when next time they see you, do you understand? I will love for before and after and during. They are never going to forget me. Do you understand? So that's the way you should look at your work. And it doesn't matter what you evolve into. You might be a photographer in 10 years. You might have evolved into another technology that has not even come up now. You might become an AI artist. We don't know what we will become, because in this season that we've been born in, technology is moving too fast. But whatever it is that it is, don't forget to not focus just on the technology. Yes, you must master your craft. Yes, there must be no knowledge gaps, but that one thing that supersedes knowledge, because you know the Bible just said it said knowledge will pass away. It's incomplete anyway. You can't know it well. You can't know it finish. Somebody there will know and pass you. Doesn't matter how you shoot something. Somebody knows how to shoot it more than you, but how do you make people feel? How do you make people feel? Okay, that's my little presentation.